feel like I say this shit every 4 years. I think I have been saying this shit every 4 years since like 1990, 92, when I started voting. I'm a leftist. I couldn't really give you an exact definition, but I'm an independent voter. That means that I vote for third parties, socialists, Claudia Dela Cruz, people like that, and occasionally for a Democrat, if nobody else in the race is available who agrees with all of my positions and all of my ideals. I lived in a swing state for many years. I started voting in a swing state. Every 4 years when I lived in that swing state, my decision came up. If it seemed like it was a wrap, the Democrats were going to win, there was no threat of Republicans taking that state, I always voted third party. Anytime it was close, I would vote for the major party candidate, but only for the presidential race, and only in those years, and only in a swing state. Swing states aren't the same, and I'm speaking from now a blue state. I can vote for whoever I want, and it is not going to change the outcome of the election for the president in my state. If I still lived in the original swing state I'm from, I would be voting for Harris. 100%. Not a question about it. I'm very, very concerned with what's going on with the Palestinian genocide, with Netanyahu, this religious wars, the religious wars. I'm incredibly disturbed by it. I do not like that the Democratic Party, a major party, is partaking in this and is supporting it. I'm disgusted by it. However, when I compare the two candidates, I see one party that is racist against Muslims, has attempted previously to discriminate against them, their freedom of movement in this country, their ethnicity and religion, that has participated in extreme racism and hatred towards them throughout my entire lifetime. I started voting in 1992. I saw the aftermath of 9/11, horrible racism, and I saw how the Republican Party reacted to that, and still reacts to that, with a really deep, absolute hatred of Muslims, just in general. Netanyahu has a private line to Trump. He's going to get what he wants if Trump wins. Now, Harris is part of a party that is currently helping to fund and support the genocide in Gaza. However, the Democratic Party still runs on rule books. They go by if the UN calls a special session and they want her to come and testify or speak to them or confront her, she is going to go. She will negotiate with diplomats. She will discuss ceasefire. She's already said the word ceasefire. We have people in the Democratic Party like Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, and others who are advocating to stop Netanyahu's actions in Palestine, in Gaza. This party has people who are dedicated to stopping it. If you are in a swing state and you are kind of holding your breath thinking, I don't want to support any of these candidates, I'm going to tell you right now that, voting for Harris, I'm not going to call it the lesser of two evils. Evil's evil. But I'm going to say voting for Harris offers more of an opportunity for this to end. Mainly because they will still engage, her administration would still engage with people who are opposed to what's going on in Gaza. They will follow diplomatic standards. They will negotiate with foreign leaders who are not necessarily Netanyahu's buddies. They will at least hear it out. The Republican Party wants nothing to do with that. They will withdraw from any accords. They will accept no resolutions from the UN. They will continually nominate people to positions of power who will enforce racism and hatred against Muslims, Palestinians, everybody involved in the protest movement. They're deeply anti-Semitic. They're deeply anti-Muslim. They're deeply racist, the whole party at this point. So if you are in a swing state, something to take in consideration is the possibility that international relations and international pressure upon the executive branch of our government will have more effect on Democrats like to go by the book and like to negotiate than it will have on somebody like Trump, who simply idolizes any asshole that comes up and greases his palm and tells him he's pretty. That's just the presidential race. These happen every 4 years. There's always a shit show. As far as everybody who's voting, not just swing state voters, but everybody, if you're a leftist like me, you need to look at your local races. Your governor, your state reps, your city council, your school board members, the dog catcher, every local office, public lands, sewer administrator, anybody. Look at these local offices because these are important to us. The Tea Party came into power by electing their far-right religious nuts to these smaller offices and then slowly building up a structure of government through which they could elect themselves to higher and higher offices. It is a strategy that's worked. We are at the end, almost at the end goal of that strategy. They've almost gotten everything they wanted, and they started out not with a presidential candidate. Pat Robertson was a loon. Nobody would vote for him. He lost. Their presidential candidate was a joke every time they've tried to run one, until Trump and Pence. But they took over school boards. They took over city councils. They got mayors and sheriffs and dog catchers and all of these local offices that affect your daily life. They took all of those offices. They won. They went out, they advocated, they got all of their churches to go and vote. They communicated and they cooperated even if they didn't like the person that they were voting for, because they had a common goal, which was to shift every part of American politics as far right as possible in order to install their theocracy, Christian theocracy. There's no room in that for Muslims, or Jewish people, or atheists, or anybody else. Here we are, 30, 40 years later, after they followed this path of installing people in these smaller local offices. I'm just imploring you, even if you are unwilling to vote for the presidential candidates, either one of them, I want you to vote anyway, because your local offices, the local initiatives, the people who are running for these smaller offices really, really fucking matter. And if there's anyone leftist, even remotely leftist, running for one of those offices, stump for them. Go out and tell people about them. Spread the word. Get them elected. Because this is the way that we build up power as a coalition of leftists. We don't do that by arguing online, by fighting with each other. That's psyops. That's people like interfering with our business. Our business is to form a coalition that can actually have some political power in this country. And we start at the bottom. Just like any other fucking job, you start at the bottom. So look for your local candidates. Look for initiatives that will do some good. Look for leftists. Even just look for the furthest left person you can find for every race and vote for them. If that happens to be somebody that you dislike or disagree with on certain things, I don't care. If their opponent is farther right than them, vote for the further left person in every race. Vote for the further left position on every initiative that's on the ballot. I am not an incrementalist, but voting is an incremental action. If you want change to happen faster, we have to do things that are inconvenient for other people. We have to protest in inconvenient ways. We have to spin our actions and consider our actions and take action outside of voting. Incremental change happens through voting. Only incremental change happens through voting. It is the bare minimum that you vote. Real change happens when you organize community. And I mean your neighbors, people that live right around you. That's your community. Talk to those people, organize with them, form mutual aid societies, volunteer, feed your homeless neighbors, do all of that stuff, and protest in inconvenient ways. You have to put some of yourself on the line for rapid change to happen. You have to do it. But voting will cause incremental change if you do it the right way by voting for the furthest possible left candidate and action you can find everywhere on the ballot. That's your incremental change. Your major change comes from all the other actions you take in life. I'll keep saying this every 2 to 4 years. Forever. Yeah. Swing state. Roll out. Do your thing.